Hey dudes, what's up? Today I'm going to be reading more of your guys' paranormal stories. I already have a few picked out, so we'll just start with the first one, I guess. The first one is actually an update from one of the stories that I told. I don't know if it was in the last one or maybe the one before that, but it's from Caitlin. It was the one where she heard her boyfriend's brother come home, pull his car into the driveway, and then immediately after she heard 3 knocks on her bedroom door and thought it was him, so she went to go open it, but then looked out the window and saw the boyfriend's brother still at the car. It was that one. So she has an update about the little boy ghost, so I figured we will start there because I remember saying that I wanted to hear more about him. So she says, "So you mentioned in your video you wanted to know more about the little boy at my boyfriend's house. I'll start from the beginning when I first started experiencing paranormal things at his house, a year after being there. That's the weird part about this to me. Why is the boy here a year after us already being here? Well, anyways, the first time I felt like something was there, before I knew it was a little boy, was when I was home alone at my boyfriend's house while him and his brother were at work. I was watching YouTube in my boyfriend's room when all of a sudden I hear running up the stairs. I didn't hear the front door open or anybody come into the driveway, so I look outside to see if one of them came home early, and I see that they didn't. So I go out into the hallway to see what it was, and there was nothing there. I go back into his room, and a couple minutes go by, and I can hear and feel someone running up and down the stairs again. So I check again, and nothing's there. This is when I started to get a little freaked out, but I try to ignore it because there's nothing I can really do about it. The running continues for about 4 hours straight. During that time, while paying close attention to the running, I notice it sounds similar to when the kids are running up and down the stairs. They stay with their mom during the week and with their dad on the weekends, so the kids weren't there during this time. The running eventually stops for the night though. So, about a week passes by, and I still heard a little bit of running throughout the week before. I was up in the room again, as usual, when the running up and down the stairs started again. It continues on for about an hour and a half, and at this point, I'm just like whatever about it, because that's still all it's done, and I wasn't too freaked out anymore. But this time, the running didn't stop at the stairs. It continued throughout the whole hallway now. Another hour passes by. I'm used to it now, so I'm just going about my business cleaning the room. While I'm cleaning, I walk towards the door to throw something away, and right when I get to the door, whatever it is runs down the hallway really fast and stops right in front of the door. And as soon as I felt how fast it was running towards the door, I turn around and run to the other side of the room. Needless to say, I didn't leave the room until my boyfriend got home. So a couple more days pass by. It was about 3 a.m. and I got up to use the bathroom. As I walk back down the hallway and get right in front of the bedroom door, before I open it, I suddenly had this really strange, disoriented feeling, and then I hear like 30 different voices yelling something into both of my ears. When it happened, I knew that nobody else was able to hear that. I could tell it came from inside my head because it sounded like a really loud echo. I looked all around me in shock. I don't really know how to explain how I felt, honestly. I really started to question my sanity for a moment. So, after that, I just went back into the room and went to sleep because I wasn't going to wake up my boyfriend over that. I would have sounded crazy. And I actually didn't tell him about it until he told me that he had the exact same experience the next day. And it was that moment when he finally believed that something was there. So a few days go by. I'm in the bathroom in the middle of the night while all the kids were asleep, and I suddenly hear whispering. I listen closely and realize that it sounds like a little boy. So I come out of the bathroom thinking one of the boys woke up. I check their rooms, but they were all asleep. 2 more days go by, and my boyfriend had that day off, so me and him were the only ones home. He's walking back and forth in the hallway with clothes and is about to go take a shower. I was talking to him and looking in the direction of the hallway, and right after my boyfriend passes by the doorway, I see a little boy, around the same age and height of his 10-year-old niece, pass by the doorway. It was clear as day. He was wearing a t-shirt and jeans, just like the kids would normally wear, so I'm assuming this boy died recently. I told my boyfriend about it. He believed me, but his reaction was basically, damn, that's crazy. And then he went to go take a shower. He came out of the shower after a lot less time than he would normally spend in there, and tells me that he heard whispering and a kid laughing. Another few days passed by, and I was in the bathroom taking a bath when I hear the little boy laughing again. So at this point, I'm starting to get a little frustrated by it, and I say, "Can you please leave me alone? I'm trying to relax right now." And it did. I was downstairs making dinner when I hear the whispering again. This time, it's not a little boy though. It sounded like a woman. Sorry, that was the front door opening. Or shutting. I tried to ask it to leave me alone, but it didn't. I kept hearing the whispering on and off the whole time I was downstairs. I quickly finished making dinner and went back upstairs to try to avoid it. The whispering stopped right when I got to the top of the stairs. Fast forward to that weekend when the kids were there, I'm hanging out upstairs with his niece. Me and his niece are very close, and she tells me almost everything. Anyways, she said she had to use the bathroom, but was scared to go into the hallway by herself, and asked if I'd go with her. I ask her why she's scared, and she proceeds to tell me a story very similar to what I've been experiencing. She tells me about the running up and down the stairs and the whispering and laughing. I don't really have a conclusion for this story though, because it's still happening, so I'll just keep you updated if you want. And of course, there was also the knocking on the door I mentioned in the previous story. Thank you for giving us an update, Caitlin. I really enjoyed reading. You mentioned not understanding why after a year of being at that house that the little boy spirit would come out. It is possible that either he was brought home with somebody. I think I've mentioned in a video before that spirits can just be attracted to somebody's light and just decide to follow them. So that is a possibility. And it's also a possibility that it just didn't want to show itself until recently. But it's so crazy that you have so much activity there, especially with the hallway, the stairs, and the bathroom in particular. I wonder why he focuses so much on those areas of your house. It's very interesting. This next story comes from Charlie, who is somebody who is a regular in my stream and my Discord, and so I just wanted to be able to share her story. And so she says, "Hi Ash, my name is Charlie, and I love your paranormal story videos. I have several stories to share, but I figured I'd do it one at a time because I tend to ramble, so I apologize in advance for the length of any of my stories. I just find details very important and try to be thorough. My family had just bought a new house for us to move into at the beginning of the school year around 2010-ish, so it was somewhere in August. I was in 8th grade at the time, so I was around 13, and my older brother would have been 16. The old house, the one my brother and I were at, was located in a fairly secluded area, the only neighbor being my grandma, who lived on the hill next door to us, with forest on each side of us and a strip of woods in the back leading to a cornfield. It was very dark outside. I'm not sure what time it was at exactly, but I remember it being past 11 p.m. My brother and I were packing our rooms, getting ready for the move, while my mom and stepdad were at the new house. Our rooms were right across from each other at the far end of the house, away from the kitchen, front door, and my parents' room. There is a den separating the two areas that has a back sliding glass door leading to the backyard. While we were packing, I hear my mom's voice say, "Hello," at what sounded like the back door. It was very clear and very loud. It was also definitely our mom's voice. She has a very particular way of saying hello when she knocks on the door to be let in. It's higher pitched than her normal speaking voice and almost sing-songy. After hearing my mom, my brother and I step out of our rooms at the same time. We assumed she probably forgot her key and needed to be let in. We go to check the back and didn't see her, so we went to open the front door to find no one there either. We thought maybe she had gone to the side of the house where our stepdad used to park, where the car couldn't be seen from the back door. But neither of us wanted to go check because we both hate being outside at night. We were pretty confused as to why she would be back to begin with. It is very well known that coyotes live in the field behind our house, so it's frankly dangerous to be out there so late at night. We were also confused because she didn't knock. The only thing we heard her say was, "Hello," which may not sound weird, but she always knocks on the door. Even if her hands are full, she kicks it. It's just a habit of hers that's ingrained into us. After checking the back again, we decided to give her a call on her cell to see where she was and if she needed help bringing anything in. When she answered, she said her and our stepdad were still at the new house and had been the entire time since they left a couple of hours ago. My brother and I kinda silently freaked out about it because we both swore it was her. We ended up going back to our rooms and continued packing, this time keeping our doors open so we could see each other and not feel so alone and creeped out. The other thing that makes that kinda creepier is my brother and I heard our names spoken to us multiple times while in that house. For me, in different family members' voices. I would hear my brother call my name and my mom the most. My brother says for him, it was always the same voice, a male speaking quickly and directly in his ear. It was always when we were home alone. My brother and I always find this to be the creepiest experiences for us, not because anything really scary happened, but because we were there for it together, pretty much confirming that it was something that actually happened and not just a trick of the mind. I also find the mimicry to be one of the most unsettling things for me, because it always feels more mischievous and outwardly deceitful, if that makes any sense. Anyway, sorry for the rambling. I hope you enjoyed it, even though it's not really scary, it's just vaguely unsettling. I 100% agree with you on the mimicry of voices being one of the creepiest things. It feels very scary and just trying to be mischievous and trick you into thinking it's somebody who it's not. The fact that that happened to you so young is very scary, and I hope that since moving out of that house you haven't heard anything else. I hope it stayed back there. The last story I'm going to be reading today comes from Sherry, and she says, "Hey Ashley, I've been watching your paranormal stories and know you're interested in ours, so I figured I'd share mine with you. The first one happened when my family and I were renting a house in Massachusetts. It was built in 1883, which makes it a historic home, and after some research I discovered that about 8 families prior to us had lived there. In June of 2011, a friend of mine came to visit for the weekend, so we had her stay in my daughter's room and had my daughter stay with us in our bedroom. My daughter is a sensitive and has been seeing things since she was 4 years old. She's 17 now, and would often talk about the lady in white. That Friday evening, my friend went to sleep around midnight, and I followed about 30 minutes later to my own bedroom, only to be startled awake within minutes by a loud bang and the sound of my daughter's bedroom door being opened. My heart raced, and I instinctively knew that my friend had experienced something paranormal in my daughter's bedroom. The next morning, I mentioned being woken up and asked her what had happened. She told me that she had visitors during the night. She had intended to finish the novel she was reading before going to sleep, but she fell asleep after only reading a few pages. Something then woke her up from sleep, and when she looked around the room, she saw a woman in a white dress sitting in a rocking chair by the window. At first, my friend thought she was imagining her, so she stared more intently, but then she said that the woman began talking to her in her head, asking about my daughter. She wanted to know where she was, and why she was there instead of my daughter. My friend explained that my daughter was sleeping in our room with us, and that she was just visiting. My friend said that after the experience, she took a deep breath and closed her eyes with the intention of falling back asleep, but then she felt as if a child had crawled into the bed with her, curled up next to her. At first, she was convinced that it was my daughter who had gotten up to go to the bathroom, and then returned to her own bed, forgetting that my friend was sleeping there. It only took her a moment to realize that the child that curled up with her was not my daughter, so she jumped out of bed and ran to the bedroom door and turned the knob only to have it come off in her hand. She panicked and flipped the light switch on to see that she was alone in the room. She replaced the doorknob, opened the door a few inches, and returned to bed. And then she attached a picture of the house, but I won't include it just for like privacy reasons and stuff. This story creeps me out so much, partly because of my fear of waking up and seeing something. I've explained that that is one of my biggest fears, and especially in horror movies, that's the thing that scares me the most. So hearing stories of other people experiencing something like that is so like bone chilling to me. I really hate it. I literally got chills while reading your story. What part was it? Oh, why she was there instead of your daughter. Oh, I hated that. Thank you so much for sharing it with me. I hope that your daughter was never scared of her. I don't see anything about you saying that your daughter was afraid of her, but I mean, seeing something like that since she was 4 must have scared her a little bit, unless she's just like a fearless girl. So, I mean, if that's the case, then like good for her, but that's really scary. So yeah, those are the 3 that I'm gonna be reading today. Thank you to everybody who has sent me your experiences so far. If you guys have an experience that you guys want to send to me, please send it to me at ashparanormalstories@gmail.com. I'll put it across the screen right here, and I'll also put it in the top of the description bar down below. So if you want to send me your story, please send it to me at that email. So again, thank you to everybody who has been sending me your stories, and I really appreciate you guys taking time out of your day to type up these long experiences for me to read. I really do appreciate it. I'm gonna go. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye everybody. I've never had a shirt that had sleeves like this, and I kind of love it. They're like vampire sleeves, witch sleeves. I don't know what you would call them, but I think they're so fun. You know, I don't know.